Greetings, salutations, my birders, and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. Last time, we started the investigation for Case 7, where we discovered that the victim had not died? And, Natsume-san is, prime suspect again. That man has horrible luck. Also, like, kinda became racist, I guess. Unfortunate. Alright, let's continue on. We're going to the prison to investigate, or talk to Natsume-san about his late night rendezvous with the victim. The prison cell where the defendant, Mr. Soseki Natsume, is being held. He's spending so much time in it, he'll have to start calling the place home soon. I just ran my mousepad into my rail. Fun. (21st February). Local prison. Cell 9.
Look, Mr. Naruhodo. Mr. Natsume, have the police finished questioning you now?
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo, Esquire? Oh, yes? What is he? Tell me. Is he a ghost? Is he here to haunt me? Let me guess. You're talking about Mr. Sholmes?
He actually calls himself a great detective, Mr. Natsume, and not a ghost.
But his diabolic deductions, they're not of this world. They've left me. Ah, cursed. I'm cursed, I tell you. Well, that sort of hurts.
Credit where credit is due, Mr. Naruhodo. You were heavily involved in the deduction, too.
Yes, moving on. We have some wonderful news!
Oh? The victim that we all thought was dead has come back to life again.
Now, in the absolutely worst case, you could only be tried for attempted murder. That's great, isn't it, Mr. Natsume? It's terrible.
Oh.
I'm stuck in the cell, suffering for some silly, wrong end of the stick. You did it again. You did, didn't you? Confess. You're a killer. Why the mustache? Constant questions. I'm sorry to hear that. Oh, that selfish shyster. Make up your mind. Are you dead or alive? If you were going to come back to life, why bother dying? Wiggly, wishy-washy. William. Well, it seems likely that Mr. Shamspear was never actually dead in the first place. Ah, yes. That might make sense. And I'm pleased that he's alive, of course. Our lively debate last night was so much fun. With much fun. I'd be sad to think it was our last.
Oh.
Oops. Mr. Natsume, does this mean that you did see the victim last night? You met with Mr. Shamsphere? Yeah, you met with Mr. Shamsphere, didn't you? I'm not saying another word. I demand to have a lawyer present. Who do you think I am? Please, Mr. Natsume. We need to hear your side of the story. Why am I cursed like this? What happened? Can you tell us exactly what happened last night, then, Mr. Natsume? There's nothing to tell. But, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire, I'm eternally grateful to you for helping me with that accursed case yesterday. The case that saw poor Miss Green hospitalized after she ended up with a knife in her back.
It's hard to believe that was only yesterday.
After the trial was over, I trudged my weary way back to my lowly lodgings. And that evening, at past 9 it must have been, I visited Mr. Shamspear.
So, you did go to the victim's room then? As we feared.
I didn't do anything wrong! I'd never been to his room before. It was the first time.
Then, what made you decide to go?
I bumped into him when I arrived back at the house. We got chatting and it developed into a discussion. But he had to go out, so I bade him farewell.
That ties in with what Mr. Garrett said. That the victim went out and came back after 8.
We met again later that evening. At around 9 or just after. When I took him some nice tea I brewed as a gift.
So it was you who brought the tea that had clearly been drunk at the scene then?
And I suppose you were discussing the works of Shakespeare, were you?
Yes, that's right. That's exactly right. Romeo and Juliet. Who was the stronger? It was a delightful debate.
I'm sure.
Such a stimulating subject, Shakespeare.
And the debate became very heated. When you slipped poison into Mr. Shamsphere's tea?
No, never. Not at all. Team Juliet won. That was me. And when I left his room, the flamboyant fellow was fighting fit. I swear it, categorically.
Cursed existence. Mr. Natsume, you often say the same thing about yourself, I've noticed. That you have a cursed existence.
I'm sure I've mentioned this to you before, but I've been here in Great Britain for a year now, and in that time, I've learned that it's no place for me.
It can be very trying to live in a foreign land, adapt to the ways of another culture.
There are foreigners everywhere I look, and they all stare at me. They all laugh. That's the impression I get whenever I go out. It makes me scared to leave my room. Which is why I've become a recluse. But even in my room, I find no respite from my fears. I've moved more times than I can remember. And then, when we go, I moved into Briar Road.
But why? I mean, why did you choose that place? It doesn't seem very comfortable.
Because the rent is cheap. I have so little money. It spoke to me.
The rent?
Obviously, there's a reason why it's cheap. Because the room is cursed.
Cursed? Cursed how?
The previous occupant, the man who lived there before I took the room, died there.
Oh no.
He was only a young man, but one morning he was found dead, and no one could explain why.
Surely no one would want to live in a room with a history like that.
I didn't. When the letting agent recommended the place, I wavered. But I want books, and books cost money. A horrible history for a small price to pay. Yeah, a horrible history is a small price to pay. When I realized it would mean I could buy more books, I signed the lease like lightning.
Brave? Or blinkered?
But after I moved in, I soon came to realize what I'd done. I realized how horrible that room's history really was.
Gosh, was it really so awful?
Horrible history.
how did the room's horrible history affect you, Mr. Natsume? What happened?
At first, it was just a feeling. The feeling of beady eyes boring into my back, watching me.
Do you think that might just have been your mind playing tricks on you?
No. My mind doesn't know any tricks. It was someone else. It's been one long nightmare ever since I was given the keys to the place.
A nightmare? You've been having bad dreams, you mean?
All the souls who died in that room lean over me in my sleep and try to strangle me.
That really is horrible.
And now I come to think of it, it happened again last night too. The very same night that Mr. Shamspear was writhing in agony from the poison in his body. I was on the verge of being suffocated silently by those miserable spirits in my room.
You simply must move out of that room as soon as possible.
It sounds like carbon monoxide poisoning.
Yes, you're right. I know it. And that's why. I'm already searching for the next room with a history to call home.
I think perhaps you should try to avoid accommodation with any kind of history at all. Otherwise, I'm scared that you yourself may become history.
Phew. Susato-san knows how to make the man listen.
Of course. Mr. Lord of the Manor is worried about the curse on my room as well.
You mean Mr. Garrett?
Yes, he knows that if people keep dying there, they'll never be able to rent it out again.
Well, that's true. I, for one, wouldn't go near the place.
Perhaps that may explain why the landlord pays so much attention to the gas lamps and his tenant's movements.
You mean because he's worried about their well-being? He does seem to have an unusually keen interest in the amount of gas in pipes. There must be a reason why he keeps such close tabs on the occupants in his let rooms.
What do you mean he pays so much attention to the gas lamps?
Oh dear, no, it's nothing to do with you, Mr. Natsume. Please forget anything.
Oh, now you're talking about me behind my back as well.
What's important is that Mr. Shamspear isn't in fact dead at all. Once he's come around and he's able to tell us what happened, we'll be able to get you released.
Yes, please. Oh, I do hope you're right.
Excuse me. Inspector Gregson. I couldn't help overhearing what you just said. And on that note, I have some good news and some bad news.
Oh,
What'd you want first?
always, every time, the bad news comes first. When hope is all you have, hold on to it. That is my guiding principle.
Right. Well, in that case, the good news is,
Huh?
sorry, but it's just a lot easier to explain everything that way.
Then why did you ask me my preference?
The hell? It's her car horn. As you might have heard, the victim, Mr. Shamspear, was just incautious. He's come around now. Ooh. Yes, we saw it happen in all its terrifying glory. He's still being treated by the doctors, but we've managed to get a written statement from him already.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, Mr. Natsume?
Oh, thank goodness. It's all over then. I can leave this somber cell.
Sorry, no, that's not on the cards.
What?
Whatever not, Inspector.
Mr. Shamsfield has implicated someone as being responsible for what happened last night. Implicated someone?
Oh dear.
You don't mean...
I'm sorry, said. I do, yes. He's pointing the finger at you, Mr. Natsume.
Oh!
Boss, sweet poison did he thinkest to end my life. That wicked catif. So Seki Natsume.
No.
So I'm afraid you'll be appearing in court as planned. You will be wanting to make the necessary preparations.
No!
And so, once again, Sasaki-san found himself having to take the dock in the Old Bailey. Whether his room was haunted or whether he was just terribly unlucky, I knew I had no choice. The following day, I would represent him in court and do my utmost to break the curse that blighted him. Oh. I thought we had more things to go through. Court time. 22nd February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey, Defendant's Antechamber. The Old Bailey. This place always makes me feel strange. I seem to get chills down my spine and break out in a nervous sweat all at the same time. Well, I didn't think I'd be back here so soon. I have no idea who this could be. That's my line. Oh, yeah, that's fair enough.
Good morning.
Ah, good morning, Mr. Natsume.
It was only 2 days ago that I was declared not guilty here.
Yes, we somehow managed to prove you didn't stab Miss Green in the back.
But now this. Another morning, another murder. And here I am again in this hellhole. Can't keep coming to court.
I'm beginning to think he's right. It does seem as though he's cursed.
Mr. Naruhodo, I'm afraid I have bad news. Oh. Mr. Natsume, good morning.
Yes, good morning. Yes, morning.
So, here we are again.
Yes, again. Judicial Assistant, Miss Mikotoba Esquires. What's the bad news?
Oh dear, you heard, did you?
If you come in shouting at the top of your voice, people can't help hearing what you say.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You've done nothing wrong, Mrs. Sato. Now, what is it?
Well, it seems that the prosecutor in today's trial will be led by Lord Barak Van Zieks.
Van Zieks?
Oh no. Oh no, no, no.
The so-called Reaper of the Bailey. The most legendary prosecutor in the land. In the trial 2 days ago, he pursued Sasaki-san and I relentlessly. Of course, by the skin of our teeth. We managed to pull through. Still.
Perhaps Mr. Natsume's acquittal in the last trial wasn't the end of the matter. After all,
Yes, I know what you're thinking. The legend of the Reaper that says, nothing can save a person in the dock when Lord Van Zieks is the prosecutor.
Oh no.
that even if that person is found not guilty, the accused will meet a mysterious end one way or another.
And we've experienced it firsthand. A man who successfully defended met the most terrifying end after his acquittal. Right here in the Old Bailey. I missed doing that guy's voice. It was fun.
Oh, do I have to put up with those ice-cold eyes boring into my soul again? Cursed by evil spirits, and now by the Reaper. Patrolling perils, potentially.
Well, if it's potentially, at least you appear to have hope, Mr. Natsume.
Locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Yes?
I'm innocent. You have to believe me. You, more than anyone now.
Don't worry. I'll be your steadfast ally every step of the way in this battle. I promise. And this promises to be a hard battle, I fear.
Well, the trial is scheduled to begin shortly. We should move into the courtroom.
Let's go.
Oh yes, I forgot to say, I'm afraid he won't be able to make it, Mr. Shulman, I mean.
That's probably for the best.
Oh,
If he were here, I might be tempted to rely on his help. And that could be seen as a weakness. If Lord Van Veeks were to notice, he'd prey on it mercilessly. At least, that's my gut feeling.
Mr. Naruhodo.
You're right. Yes, you're so right. Well said, locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. Well said.
I swear on the sword at my side, and on the spirit of Kazuma that it harbors. I'll show him what a Japanese lord can do. I'll set you free, with honor.
Oh, yes!
February, 9:40 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom.
In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and the defense to declare their willingness to proceed.
The prosecution is ready.
The defense is ready, my lord.
Readiness for the trial, my lord, Nipponese flag, is not what the defense needs. What you need is readiness for your inevitable defeat.
It's not just my imagination. It's really there. Lord Van Veeks has such an animosity towards us Japanese for some reason.
There was some time ago that he first became known as the Reaper of the Bailey, I believe. These past few years, he hasn't appeared in court at all.
Yet now, he's back in the courtroom.
Though for some reason, only when I'm defending.
This Reaper, with his curious disdain for us Japanese, is a prosecutor shrouded in mystery. Still, this isn't the time to be pondering that. I have to concentrate on Soseki-san's trial.
Furthermore, I now call upon the 6 ladies and gentlemen of the jury. You have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this trial. Are you ready to fulfill your duty? Absolutely. I have a feeling this Larkin wasn't innocent before.
I must say
I have no idea what voice I give these people.
that I feel especially ruthless on days when my hat refuses to sit right.
Oh! Well, I rather like how you're wearing your hat. I think that the ruthless look is very fetching, actually.
I need to be somewhere at 10 o'clock. I have a very important meeting. Let's make this quick.
I couldn't agree more. I need to take home 5 bob tonight, or the missus will go through the roof.
Oh, may the Lord show us all the light here, and lead his flock to a righteous road.
The British jury system is so very different from our own, isn't it?
I feel like their selection process is also very... not randomized?
It's quite extraordinary to think that the power of the judgment is in the hands of 6 members of the public, and that the judge can only pass a sentence when all jurors are in agreement about the defendant's guilt.
6 citizens of London, chosen at random. Or at least, that's the idea. The prosecution would draw attention to the fact that the accused was on trial here but 2 days ago. Accordingly, where possible, the same jurors have been asked to return for duty today. Oh, did on purpose. Oops.
Very well, let us commence the trial. Lord Razix, your opening statement, please.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, it is not the intent of the prosecution to cast doubt over your past decision. However, the innocent verdict afforded to this eccentric Nipponese before has had dire consequences. For the accused repent. Did the accused repent for his wrongdoing in the affair? Far from it. Instead, he used his freedom to perpetrate a most blood-curdling crime. Namely, that of the attempted murder of his neighboring lodger, an innocent Englishman. To explain the circumstances of the crime, the prosecution calls its first witnesses to the stand. The detective responsible for investigating the scene, and the accused himself. Witnesses, your names and occupation, please.
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector, Scotland Yard's Homicide Division.
Ah, Soseki Natsume from the Empire of Japan. My government ordered me to come here as a student to study your language and culture.
Mr. Natsume,
Yes, my lord, sir.
I'm quite sure I'm not mistaken that you swore an oath never to set foot in my courtroom again. I remember it as if it were yesterday.
The day before, in fact, my lord. But close enough. Believe me, this is the last place I want to be. Inspector, let's hear from you first. Explain the case for the court.
Right you are, sir. The incident occurred at the Garrett household, where the defendant had lodgings. In the ground floor of the victim, Mr. William Shamsphere. The defendant had already admitted to visiting the victim. The defendant has already admitted to visiting the victim on the night in question. Mr. Shamsphere collapsed in his room as a result of poison by... The hell? Strychnine. He was found the following morning when the landlord, suspecting something was wrong, broke down the door. This means, I presume, that the door to the victim's room was locked at the time of the incident?
Correct, my lord. It was locked from the inside, making entry to or exit from the room impossible.
Although the victim, Mr. Shamsphere, lives to tell tale, he very nearly did. The man was halfway to heaven when we first found him. I was the first officer on scene, my lord. And I have a photographic print here that I took at the time to show how it looked.
The hell is that puddle? Is there a gas leak?
Yes, a chilling scene indeed. The man looks very much deceased.
Does he?
That's right. Everyone present believed that's exactly what he was.
Does no one know how to check a pulse back then? Is that not a thing? Although, granted, I don't know how to check a pulse properly. Yeah, I can't even check my pulse properly. You know what? Fair enough.
Very well, I shall accept this photographic print as evidence for the court.
Crime photograph has been entered in the court record. A photographic print of the scene taken by police upon their arrival. The victim can be seen unconscious at the table, having been poisoned.
Now then, Mr. Natsume.
Okay, I can't do a follow-up of Sato.
Oh, yes.
As the defendant, do you have anything to say at this juncture?
They're haunted. Haunted by evil spirits.
Good gracious! What's haunted?
My lodgings. There's been a whole series of strange happenings in my lodgings. The tenant before me died in mysterious circumstances. A woman was stabbed by no one on the street outside. My neighbor was poisoned. And me. What about me? I've nearly been killed countless times.
Killed, Mr. Natsume. How?
Even on that fateful night, it happened. When I returned from Mr. Shamsphere's room, I lit my gas stove and climbed into bed. But before long, the stove went out, and somebody tried to kill me.
You must always extinguish all fires before retiring for the night, Mr. Natsume.
But it's so cold. My runny nose would freeze. The point is, I didn't poison my neighbor. Oh, why am I being accused of this? Why is my existence so cursed?
Thank you, witnesses. I believe I have a reasonably clear picture of the events.
Really? Oh. If I could raise one more point, my lord. One more conclusive point.
Conclusive?
Go on. Fortunately, the victim, Mr. Shamsphere, has regained consciousness after his ordeal. And he has named the true culprit. The poison consumed by the victim was administered in a cup of tea that he drank on the night in question. Tea, my lord, that was brought to the victim's room by the accused.
The accused? Good grief! Order! Order!
Yes, that's the crux of this whole story. Or case. If the Suckerstein is innocent, then why? Why has the victim accused him?
Well, Mr. Asume, what have you say to this accusation?
That evening, yes. I did take some freshly brewed tea with me when I visited Mr. Shansfi's rooms. As a gift. The public wire pump outside always freezes at night, so I brought boiled wire, especially to make it. And this is the result. I would never touch tea again. Never.
The public pump was frozen, you say?
That's not information we've heard before.
Thou do, thank you. Now, according to our laws, the defense must have the opportunity to cross-examine witnesses at least once. Therefore, I call upon these witnesses now for formal testimony. I presume the prosecution has no objection.
None whatsoever, my lord.
Good. Then you will give your account of events on the night in question to the court now.
Yes, my lord.
Witness testimony.
The catastrophic night.
It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbor, and I took some tea with me as a gift. We had a heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11. My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
Drying now, it takes some time to have effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands. Yes, I see. It all seems relatively straightforward.
Excuse me, but that testimony does raise one rather crucial point, I think. Mr. Natsume claims his tea to have been harmless. Presumably, though, the teacups have been examined for traces of the poison, haven't they?
Why didn't I think of that?
Well, as it happens, no. We have been able to.
Well, this feels like a case of racism again.
Did I hear you correctly, Inspector? Scotland Yard has failed to examine the suspect's substance.
How could you have overlooked something so important? Isn't that the first thing you should have done?
My learned Nipponese friend is falsely incensed. The inspector said Scotland Yard was unable to examine the deed, not that it was overlooked.
Unable? Why?
It's simple enough. There was none left, and all dropped. Someone must have been very thirsty indeed.
With current scientific techniques, it's not possible to test for poison under such circumstances.
We only need a drop, but that one drop does actually have to exist, funnily enough.
The lack of examination notwithstanding, it appears nothing other than the tea passed the victim's lips on the night in question.
I see. Thank you. The matter is clear.
Cast your eyes over the jury, my learned friend.
What?
You can see it in their faces, I'm sure. The recognition of the accused guilt.
Your client's fate is all but sealed. In mere moments from now, you will lose, and your compatriot will be damned for all eternity. He's right. I can feel all 6 of the jurors looking daggers at me. I can't let them beat me down. I won't. Counsel for the defense, proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. The catastrophic night.
It was around 9 o'clock that evening when I visited my neighbor. I took some tea with me as a gift.
Hold it! Were you and your neighbor good friends then?
No, we weren't friends. Not at all. Not at all. Never, ever.
A simple no would have sufficed. Then, why did you decide to pay him a visit?
Mr. Shamsford fancied himself as having a great literary knowledge. As a fellow scholar of English literature, we find much to talk about together.
Come now. No Nipponese could understand the finer points of English literature. So racist. And on the night in question, that was the topic of conversation as well, I presume.
It was the day of my last trial, when I was acquitted. I just arrived back at my lodgings, when I ran to Mr. Shansfield outside on the street. That was at around 6 o'clock. We exchanged 1 or 2 pleasantries, but it soon turned into a heated discussion. He was on his way out at the time, though, so I promised to visit his room that evening at 9 to continue our debate. But did I have ill intentions? No, not 1, not 2, not any, not at all. Never, ever.
A simple no would have sufficed, I feel.
Then, tell the court what did happen when you visited the victim's room.
We had heated literary debate over a nice hot drink, after which I went back to my room at around 11.
Hold it! A literary debate about Shakespeare's work. I think you said, didn't you?
Shakespeare? Oh, a very worthy topic of conversation, I must say.
Yes, my lord. Romeo and Juliet, who was stronger? It was a profoundly pleasurable parlay.
Romeo and Juliet?
Who was stronger? I know I'm going to regret asking this, but how did the debate go?
Well, we both agreed that we would reach a conclusion more quickly with a reenactment. So we bowed it out. In Greco-Roman style, naturally.
What?
Mr. Shansfield had all sorts of costumes in his room for just a contest.
So when you say, reenactment, you mean you were actually in costume?
As he as Romeo, and I as Juliet. And after a vigorous, wild tussle, I, as Juliet, came out on top. A victory I'll cherish forever.
I dare not imagine the terrible scene of carnage.
The fact remains that it was you who prepared the tea and took it to the victim. Product.
I boiled the water in my room, and he had a pot to take with me. I'd heard he was too poor to have tea himself, you see.
It's true. There's no sign of any tea leaves in the man's room.
I wanted to do something nice, to be friendly. So why is everyone looking at me with such suspicion? My tea was harmless. Of course it was.
And do you have any basis for that statement, witness?
My tea was completely harmless. He couldn't have locked the door behind me otherwise, could he?
Hold it!
Yes, there was not a drop of tea left in the victim's room. Anywhere, was there?
That's correct. Anyone would think the fellow had never had a pot of tea before. He must have licked it dry. It is a pity because one drop is all we would have needed to analyze it for poison.
And you say that you returned home to your room at 11 o'clock, Mr. Natsume?
Yes, definitely. By heaven and earth, I swear it.
The landlord was able to verify that, as it happens. He confirmed that the defendant went back to his room at 11 at night. And how is the landlord able to attest to this? He, said it was lamps, I believe. The lamps, Inspector.
When tenants return to their rooms and start using gas, the lamps in other parts of the house flicker.
Yes, Mr. Gerardip seems to pay a lot of attention to the comings and goings of his tenants.
There's only one key to Mr. Shamsphere's room. I know that for certain. So he must have locked the door himself, from inside his room.
The victim has confirmed that to be the case, yes.
So I'm right. My tea was harmless, completely harmless. If you take poison, you die. Everyone knows that.
It's not that simple, I'm afraid.
What do you mean?
Strychnine takes some time to have effect on the body. People don't keel over immediately after taking it.
Hold it!
How long does it take for symptoms to appear then?
According to the coroner I was speaking to at the yard, about 30 minutes after the poison is consumed.
Well, that doesn't make sense at all. I imagine he started drinking tea like soon after 9. He left at 11. He will be dead.
Then the victim suffers violent convulsions, cramping and stiffness, and eventually dies from asphyxiation.
So there's a 30-minute interval between when the poison is ingested and the onset of symptoms. There seems to be a lot of different types of poison in the world. That's for sure.
Oh dear, death by poison again. It's always so awful.
30 minutes is a long time. Certainly long enough for the victim to have locked the door behind the accused after he left.
You can't deny that. And it further degrades Soseki-san's alibi.
I have the medical report from the doctor who examined the victim here, my lord. It spells it out, really. The accused is the only person who could have done it. Very well, the court will add this report to the court record as evidence.
The victim's medical report has been entered into the court record. A report issued by Scotland Yard's medical officer. It obviously mentions the poison as well as other details gleaned during the police investigation.
Oh yes, I see it here. Delayed onset of symptoms.
Great!
The victim would have been able to perfectly lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands.
Okay, let's see.
Victim, William Shamsphere, 31. Cause of coma, ingestion of a small quantity of strychnine. Strychnine. Toxic effects present 30 minutes after ingestion. High likelihood of the substance to have been mixed with the tea of the victim was drinking, but no sample could be obtained for testing. Investigative conclusions. The poisoning incident occurred at around 1:30 a.m. on 21st of February. A
assessed from the victim's pocket watch that appears to have broken when the man collapsed. After the delay onset of symptoms. No container of poison was found at the scene. So Taki-san left at 11. So there's 2 points where this whole thing just crumbles apart. Goddamn. I felt like something stuck in the back of my nose and like the top of my throat. I wonder if it's like a tumor or something. Cause I feel like that's a presence. It's bugging the hell out of me. The victim would have been perfectly able to lock the door after his guest left. The argument still stands.
Hold it!
The argument still stands, you say? This is what Mr. Natsumi has been saying, is it? The pair of them drank tea together that night, so if there was poison in it, the victim wouldn't have been able to lock the door after the accused left later on.
Exactly. Oh, me and my tea are innocent. Sweet and innocent, I tell you.
I'm afraid, sir, that doesn't follow. You see, strychnine is a slow-acting poison. In other words, it takes time for symptoms to appear. So you could have left the room up to 30 minutes after the victim drank the tea. And as long as you did that, Mr. Shakespeare could have locked the door after you'd gone.
But no. We drank tea straight away. The battle over whether Romeo and Juliet was stronger. That came after the tea.
Do you have any evidence to support that statement?
In my great homeland, the Empire of Japan, we have a saying. Drink tea while it's hot.
Sure, a proverb would satisfy the prosecution. I'm afraid that there's no conclusive proof to support the defendant's assertion. On the contrary, there are sufficient grounds to infer his guilt in this matter.
No.
That's the extent of their testimony, is it?
If I could voice a personal opinion, Mr. Naruto.
Of course, go ahead.
Mr. Natsume is arguing for his innocence so adamantly and so persistently, yet Inspector Gregson just brushes what he says aside. It's really quite infuriating.
I agree.
So we need to find an inconsistency in what the inspector is saying, I think. I'm afraid so. As things stand, the jurors are sure to find Mr. Natsume guilty.
As I see it, what we need to focus on is the poison in the tea. Let's listen carefully to his testimony again.
Yes.
I think I present the medical report on this one. Because it has a mention of time.
Objection!
There we go. Nice. Mr. Natsume, you say it was 11 p.m. when you left to return to your room, correct?
Yes.
And Inspector Gregson, can we rely on the information in the medical report unconditionally? Of course we can. There's no problem with that report, Sunshine. Actually, I think there's a very big problem. Because there's a chronological inconsistency between it and the defendant's testimony. According to what? What are you on about? According to this report, the victim must have consumed the poison at around 1:30 in the morning. And yet, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, left the victim's room at 11. Oh! Yes, that's right. That's more than 2 hours of missing time there. Nerf! In other words, if there was poison in the tea that Mr. Natsume brought to the victim's room, how could the victim have fallen ill to it 2.5 full hours after the defendant left? Why are you reacting?
The defense's argument is entirely reasonable. How do you respond, Lord Ventinks?
Oh, because the poison now acts 3 hours after consumption. Obviously. They missed a 0. Pray forgive the discourtesy if my mind has wandered. I was considering what cuisine would best complement the contents of my hollow chalice this luncheon. How could it have happened, you ask? I do hate to shatter illusions, but my Nipponese friend appears to be chasing a phantom idea. A phantom? Is it so hard to imagine that the victim drank his tea after the accused had left? For example, at the time stated in the medical report, yes, at around 1:30.
Objection!
Mr. Natsume brought the tea with him to drink together with his neighbor. And in Japan, there's a well-known saying, drink tea while it's hot.
Objection!
And in my country, there is an even more apt saying. There is nothing more refreshing than cold tea. I don't believe you. The point is, if there was such a long gap, there may be other ways to explain how the victim came to be poisoned. Other possibilities.
What sort of possibilities, Counsel?
A third party? Idiocy? Well, for example, yeah, the man could have had another visitor. Another visitor. That's a very bold assertion, my learned friend. From someone who has nothing to substantiate it. Or the victim could have taken the poison of his own volition.
You suggest this may have been a suicide, Counsel?
Not suicide. A frame job. A conspiracy.
Objection!
Mr. Shamsphere has categorically denied suicide. The idea can and must be discounted.
Objection!
Wow. But he could be lying! Which he is right now, because we know the truth.
Is something wrong, Lord Van Zeeks?
I was listening to the sound of the carriage pulling up outside the courtroom. Pray forgive the discourtesy. Carriage? What carriage? It would seem that the key player in this case has just arrived. Hold it! Out, out, out! Out, out, out! Out, out! Brief candle. Life's but a walking shadow. I think I have the same voice as him. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage, and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
Who, sir, are you?
William Shamesphere, my lord. Last 'twas I, undone by these bitter events. Ah, and the victim. What? What's he doing here?
The prosecution seeks to call this gentleman to the stand. With his testimony, my learned friend's futile resistance will be utterly crushed. You're calling him as a witness?
Very well, Counsel. I grant your request with interest. I am curious to discover what the court shall hear from the victim himself.
Happy I am. Happy am I, Shamsphere, to regale thee with my tale of woe, my lord. But I still have my own tale to tell. My own tale of worse woe. I can regale the court with the tale of my perfect innocence in perfect English.
That will do, Mr. Natsume. Let the court now hear from the victim.
Why are you here? Alright. So that's Mr. Shamsphere. But who's that other man beside him?
Yes, I feel sure we've caught a glimpse of that man before.
State your names and occupations for the court, please. Witnesses.
A writer of words so sweet, they do scent the breeze. An inventor of ideas so profound, they compose the earth. The unrivaled poet, the unmatched scribe, William Shakespeare. Were the great bard to be recalled to life anew. Lo, what a magnificent man! Good fellows, I am he who ponders such a miracle. William Shamsphere.
Oh, the name's Meterman. Adron B. Meterman.
Oh, that is Jiggly-chan.
I work for the Altamont Gas Company, East End Branch Office.
Ah, I remember now. It was yesterday on Briar Road.
Oh, yes.
He's right. It's him.
Oh? What's this? What's that man doing over there? Looks like he's trying to see into Suseki-san's lodgings.
Is something wrong, Mr. Naruto?
Excuse me. Do we have a word?
Ah!
I think he has like a weird, like, gangster accent. Yes, we spotted him outside Mr. Gyarados' house that morning. And he's a gas company employee? What does he have to do with this case?
So, Mr. William Shamsphere, you were the victim in this miserable affair, correct?
Oh heaven, oh hell! Do you command me to remember that sweet poison that this crossed me and crossed mine innocent lips? I subpoenaed him for the trial, with his doctor's permission, naturally. Hearing the testimony of the aggrieved will remove any room for doubt from the jurors' minds, I'm sure. Behold, you have only to rearrange the letters of my name to see that me a seraph, an angel indeed. Thus I be of noble of mind, sweet of nature, and verily honest of heart, as all heavenly angels be.
Because there isn't a less contrived meaning in your name. No, not at all.
The jurors seem to be very moved by this man, I'm afraid.
They're actually taking the serif anagram idea seriously?
Thank you, witnesses, for your illuminating introductions.
But my lord, what's the man next to Mr. Shamsphere doing here? The gas man, I mean.
What? Me? Well now.
Allow me to enlighten my learned friend. You recall, I presume, your earlier impertinence when you suggested that the victim had another visitor to his room on the night in question. And moreover, that the victim is a compulsive liar.
What? No, I didn't quite say that.
This young chin stroker here is here to controvert your wild claims conclusively. Is that not so, Mr. Mitterman?
Yeah, hang on. No. I'm just here to... I hereby call for your formal testimonies. You will tell the court as lucidly as possible what happened on the night in question.
One may smile and be a villain. Yes, it does pain me, but let the truth be spoken. The truth of that wintry night of my discontent. The wintry night of my discontent. The snow lay about. My neighbor did cometh in the evening, bearing a gift of tea. But merry, bitter was his drink, and when he left, I did fall prostrate on my table. 'Twas the tea alone did pass my lips that late hour, not else.
Yeah. I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room. No one else visited his room but that short little brown-backed Asian fella. Meow, say meow. Wait, what did you say? You were keeping an eye on Mr. Chancer's room all night? Yeah, that's right. Of course, the bloke's window's all but blocked up, isn't it? Well, there's a little gap in the bricks where you can see into the room. So I spent the night trying to keep my teeth from chattering as I peered in through that. The question is, sir, why? Ah, well now. Okay. Me, yeah. Nope, can't do it. Nope. Never tried speaking that accent before. That's because it's on my list.
What a piece of work is a man. Wherefore wouldst thou not stare in wonderment?
What are you talking about?
This buzzing busybody hath not part in his play. I pray thee, pay him no heed. Make no more ado about his tedious words.
Definitely about me. What you say about me?
Calm yourself. This court is concerned with what happened on the night in question. Nothing more.
Indeed, that is so.
And, as the testimony we have just heard clearly reveals, there was no one other than the accused present at the time who could have carried out this crime.
Well, I believe this may be the final testimony of the trial. Now, counsel, the defense may proceed with a cross-examination.
Yes, my lord.
Cross-examination.
The snow lay about. My neighbor did cometh in the evening, bearing a gift of tea.
Hold it! To be clear, by neighbor, you are referring to the defendant, Mr. Natsume.
Oh, indeed, sire. Perchance thou wouldst that I call him the man from upstairs? And at what time did the mustachioed Nipponese visit you in your room? Our meeting was promised for the hour of 9, and lo, did he come, to tender a gift of fragrant tea.
Details which are in accordance with the defendant's own testimony, yes.
And we were embroiled in such a literary debate as history hath not seen before.
By which I presume he means...
The discussion about who was stronger, Romeo or Juliet.
I, Shamsphere, did play the part of young Romeo, whilst my neighbor played the fair Juliet. Each of us dressed as we would our characters be, to bring weight upon our merry experiment.
I dare not imagine the scene.
Frailty, thy name is woman. Canst thou imagine how dismayed I was? Yes, I had heard the eastern art of jujitsu, but ne'er did I dream 'twould be a skill practiced by the comely maiden.
Juliet beat Romeo up? That's not helping our case.
I believe the court has heard enough about your shattering literary debates. Perhaps you could reiterate your statement about the tea that the accused brought to your room. My liege, I am thy servant. Gladly I would do thy bidding. But Mary, bitter was his drink, and when he left, I did prostrate him on my table.
Hold it! Let me stop you there. Mr. Natsumi left your room at 11 o'clock, but it wasn't until 2 after that the poison made you collapse. That amounts to more than 3 hours of missing time. Okay. If the defendant had really put the poison into your tea, that 3-hour window of time is something you're going to have to explain.
Gladly. Just an easy task.
What?
I did drink the tea, not while my guest distarried, but after he took leave of me. Faith, 'twas stone cold, but at 1 hour past post midnight, verily were my lips parched.
Objection! That doesn't sound normal.
Nay, 'tis quite ordinary, sire, after all. Thou wouldst recall our fiery debate. Amidst such argument, there'd be no time for fiery tea.
Romeo and Juliet again. And who is stronger?
Mr. Shamsphere, in summary, allow me to confirm. Did you not come here with the intention of naming your Takya? But of course, my liege. 'Twas the stupid love of words that attempt to shuffle me off this mortal coil.
We all know what that means.
'Twas the tea alone did task my lips that late hour, not else.
Hold it! So, you didn't have any kind of evening meal? Dinner? Supper?
Ha! Fey on luxury, fey on gluttony. To eat thrice daily is but a waste of time.
Sorry?
I would that my belly were full, no more oft than the sun doth rise.
Well, most heroic eating habits, I must say.
Night and day do I fill my hours with learned study of the great bard and playwright. Hence is there doth not in my chamber be than the costumes of mine art. That would appear to be the case, as even a rodent was found starved to death in your room.
Jesus Christ.
Now that I think of it, it's not just food that was conspicuously missing from that room, is it? I don't recall seeing a single play or script anywhere.
Why? I've devoured them all.
You've eaten them?
Every word be within my skull. Dost thou imagine otherwise?
Right. That wasn't misleading at all. Now, could you turn around, do you think?
Which brings us to the conclusion that the only way the poison could have passed the victim's lips is in the D.
Wait, why do you have a fork then? Yeah, I was outside this bloke's window in the freezing cold all night, keeping an eye on his room.
Hold it!
But the windows of that house have all been filled in.
A historical artifact of the now defunct window tax.
Yeah, right there. All bricked up horribly. Well, as it happens, it's a little part of the brickwork at the bottom of the corner that's been opened up. I was looking through that gap.
Yes, there were a few bricks loose, weren't there?
For some strange reason,
A couple of bars of soap lined up on the ledge outside as well.
pardon me. I don't like going around poking my chin in other people's business, especially on freezing cold nights. But them's my orders, so that's what I'll keep doing, as long as there's breath in my body. What's with all the theatrical say?
Out of interest, Mr. Meterman, after the accused had left and returned to his own lodgings, did you see the victim leave the room at all?
Nah, no, he never left. He was in that room the whole time as far as I'm concerned.
And we can therefore discount the possibility of suicide.
How can you be sure of that?
The police carried out a thorough investigation of the scene and found no receptacle for the poison. And since we know the victim didn't leave his room, hence didn't dispose of the poison container himself, it's clear that there was no attempted suicide. Only the culprit could have removed the receptacle.
Oh, yes. Lucidly explained, Counsel. Thank you. It really was. You can't argue with the logic. No one else visited his room but that short little round back Eastern fella.
Hold it!
You say a short little round backed Eastern fella. So you can't be sure it was the defendant then.
Objection!
Out of many other short, little, round-backed Nipponese with a mustache do you think there are in London?
Well, of course. There is. It's only a narrow gap. And it was quite dark, so I didn't quite notice the mustache. But he showed up by around 9, so I'm pretty sure of it myself. I slipped into like a weird accent there. And when you saw the person arrive, did he and Mr. Shakespeare drink tea together? Nah, sorry. I couldn't say. Why not? Because I couldn't see into the room all that well, could I? What I did see was the silhouette of that little round back fella wearing a pretty dress. And the pair of them started some kind of wrestling match. I tell you, I didn't know what to make of it.
I suppose that was the Romeo and Juliet championship battle getting underway.
Mr. Middleman, allow me to confirm one final time. Apart from the accused, can you state with certainty that no one else visited the victim on the night in question? No question. Gasman's honor. You know what? I guess make him Australian.
Hold it.
I assume it's not stupid. Oh.
My lord! Goodness me. Yes, Mr. Foreman. I've kept my mouth shut and listened up until now, but this has gone on long enough. Are you all with me?
Yes! Are we to understand that you ladies and gentlemen of the jury are in agreement with one another? That you've reached a unanimous decision?
Do right we have. Are you all with me?
Yes! Hang the little yellow bat! Wait, no! The fence is still in the middle of a cross-examination!
To be honest, I was holding out a bit of hope for you, young man. Especially after you identified those few hours that followed the accused leaving the victim's room.
Oh wait, did you ever like a Valley Girl accent?
Yes, the 3 missing hours, as you put it.
Or a Southern Belle? But in the end, what difference do they make? None, as far as I can see.
And this is now apparent. Now, since that's now apparent, there's really no reason to delay our decision any longer.
Like I was saying before, if I don't take Fireball home with me tonight, the missus will blow on top.
What's that? Sorry, I didn't quite catch what you said.
Very well, let the court be appraised of your decisions. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
That's a Beardo's Irish. All of you?
Well, it would appear that the jury is indeed unanimous.
So, this time at least, it seems justice will be done. All's will that ends well, as they say. This calls for a toast. I feel to the guilty being punished. Ugh. Wah!
Get up, Mr. Naruto, please. This trial isn't over yet.
What do you mean, Mr. Sato? This is so weird considering the fact that we literally had a trial 2 days ago. This is like the worst way they could reintroduce mechanics to players. Because it makes us just seem really stupid. Like everyone really stupid.
What about the information I found in this Encyclopedia of British Law? The obscure right that belongs to the defense in these situations. Remember?
A summation examination. Yes, that's right. We don't have a jury in Japanese courts, of course. But here in a British court of law, if we can reverse the decisions of a majority of the jurors, we can force the trial to continue. This trial can't end now. Whatever it takes. I just can't let that happen. The defense moves to invoke its right to a summation examination, my lord. Why am I not surprised at my learned Nipponese friend's inability to admit defeat? You choose to cling desperately to some archaic rule you barely comprehend instead of accepting the truth.
Certainly no other defense counselor in recent times has exercised the right to a summation examination.
It makes it sound like the British court system is like super corrupt. Like super corrupt. Because they all know that once the jury's mind is set, it cannot be altered. Save for the 5 times that our learned Nipponese friend has somehow managed to do it.
Nevertheless, the right remains and must be upheld. The defense counsel's request is granted. The counsel will proceed with a summation examination, as outlined in the Encyclopedia of British Law. Thank you, my lord. Are you and your fellows prepared, Mr. Foreman? Believe me, my lord, we all know about this young lad's tenacity, and we're ready for it. Very well. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I hereby call upon each of you to state the grounds upon which you find the defendant guilty of the crime for which he stands accused. Judicial findings.
The juror's contentions.
The victim may not be well off, but he's a known man, and straight up. There's no reason to doubt the man.
Wow, his racism. Great.
Well, I do declare the good gentleman has no reason to lie. In fact, I think he's rather splendid.
Just look at the accused by comparison. He's Japanese. Stoops all the while. And has a mustache. Very fishy. Man. So racist. There's no evidence to suggest the gangling actor is a frostman. For now, at least. Okay, reasonable. I really don't care. Like, I just needed this trial to end quickly.
3 hours of missing time is nothing when you reach my age, you know. Nothing at all.
Man, that one horn just kept going. Anyways. Every single one of them seems completely convinced. Not completely convinced. One of them seems open to new facts.
It would seem that all the jurors have come to the conclusion that Mr. Shakespeare is a fine, upstanding, and honest citizen.
If you ask me, they've all been bewitched by his strange theatrical movements.
And sadly, nothing Mr. Natsume has said appears to have registered at all.
Well, here goes. Let's not forget. I pleaded with the jury on suspected son's behalf before. And it worked. So you never know.
Before we begin, it might be an idea for me to remind you how exactly how a summation examination works, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh.
Well, you're still very new to British law, after all.
That's true, I suppose. And Suspected fate is entirely in my hands now, too. There's always a chance I might have forgotten some crucial detail. Perhaps I should hear Susawa sign out. I wonder, should I talk me through it again or not? Or not bother? No need. I still got a pretty good idea what's going on. Thank you for the kind offer, Miss Susato. But I've been through plenty of these summation examinations already now. I think it's important that we don't delay the start any longer than necessary.
Of course, I understand. And I'm quite sure you're right. If you're confused by anything at any point, you can turn to me for advice whenever you like. I'll be here for you.
The key to this is really listening carefully to each juror's statement. Finding two that are contradictory and pitting the corresponding jurors against each other.
Without further ado, please, counsel, proceed with the summation examination.
Yes, my lord.
Jury examination.
Defense's rebuttal. And I'm gonna end it there. I think that's a good starting point. I don't know how we're gonna be able to convince them that the victim is untrustworthy scallywag. But I feel like that's what's going on. I feel like there's something afoot with the bars of soap. Something drug related. Also, I really feel like carbon monoxide is involved. Like a gas man's involved. So it's like I'm feeling choked every night. The fact they have no windows. It's just disaster waiting to happen. I wonder how many people died. Is that law real? The windows taxation? I'm gonna look it up later. Anyways, until then, thank you everyone who joined me today, and I'll see you all next time. Bye bye.